Hi, this is a brief but comprehensive overview of the Solent Cloud platform from an operator's perspective. So what we're going to look at here is how Solent combines our transaction information with our video feeds live from the stores, combines these two things together to give us a highly effective operational tool that goes well beyond loss prevention, as you'll see. Now, the two areas that I want to investigate today to highlight a couple of the features in this product are an area that we constantly deal with around discounts we give out to uniform service people, namely police, EMS, even military, where we've had issues with impersonations before. We've had some fraud cases, so we tend to have a policy that looks for specific uniforms. This along with all of our policies, right, where we want to have anything from ensure the quality of service and the experience we want our guests to have. We want our people going that second mile. We want to ensure policies around cell phone usage or interacting with anything on the building's property, right, like breaks and smoking and things like that. We want to ensure that people follow our strict guidelines so that our guests always have the right experience. There are a number of policies that we want to keep track on, and it's hard to just look at video. With SolLink, there are some ways that we can use situations that they're going to highlight through reporting and stuff like that to be able to give us more access to using our cameras and our transaction data to operate the business versus just when there's an issue. So let's dig into a couple things here. What we're looking at is SolLink's main events page. So I'm looking at a specific day where I had this issue. Basically, one of our employees had suggested that another employee had given a discount when there was no clear uniform. So our police discounts are good, 50% off their meals. That's an easy way to give a friend or family a discount without it being within policy. And so what I'm going to look at is a couple different areas, but I'm just going to show you at the top. SolLink gives us all of our transaction numbers in bar graph and then an overlay of a line graph that's going to tell us the amount. So we can sort of see anomalies, where there's gaps between sort of a large number of transactions, not as much in revenue versus sort of what we want, which is right on the money here. I'm going to show you how I can just do a search to dig in, but you can see what happens here is I get a quick view, almost like a quick snapshot. I can even scroll over and it'll eventually play. That's sort of suggesting that I want to see a preview of this. And basically what this does is it sort of gives us an idea of the ticket, the receipt itself, and a single capture image of what that is. So I can quickly look for, let's say, uniform service people. And you can see it started to play there. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to look for police. Instead of looking for discount, because we have multiple discounts, employee meals, all that stuff, we want to look for specifically for police. It does come through in our point of sale, as you can see here, discount police, all those good things. I'm going to come back to this area here, which is what I've already highlighted. I'm just going to show you how those little snapshots kind of help. Uniform, right? This is how I quickly identify the particular issue. A little bit harder with drive-through. You want to see multiple camera angles there potentially, but at the counter, very easy to see uniforms, right? And also start to identify, are they real uniforms or not? And when we don't see them, what does it look like? And so what does it look like is we've actually already identified this. I even appended a note to this. So I can add a note to these tickets, these events of interest, let's call them, and I can then search for that. So if I have policy issues or I use consistent language like policy violation, harassment issue, guest service issue, discount issue, anything like that, I can then search for those and pull those up quickly. I can, of course, also always pull up my saved items. We're going to show you how we save in a second. So I'm just going to, start to build this out and look for a form of report. So if I know it's a specific employee, in this case, I do know the employee. I'm just going to enter her name and hit go. And what this is doing is actually also demonstrating that I'm going to be able to quickly identify an issue and then look at that across the employee. And then I could continue to look at that across other metrics, order duration being greater than 30 seconds or 60 seconds, certain payment types if we're dealing with fraud issues, how much revenue and things like that, the total discount, the total amount, total number of items. I can use these to effectively create a report. And so I can build this out. If I want to see this constantly, like once a day or once a week, I can save the report, give it a name, hit save, and then ultimately either daily or weekly, what SolLink's going to do is they're going to give me an email that gives me a summary of my day's revenue across my location or locations. And then some of these reports will pop up and show me, specific areas. I have drive-through issues, and I can click in and start to look at those particular events. So kind of like bubbling up all the events of interest or that I should review. and I get that first thing in the morning. I set my time to 6 a.m. because I'm an early riser. So well before I get into the store, I actually have an idea of a couple things I want to correct from the day before. And this is helping me operate a pretty tight ship when it comes to extra eyes on the business. But we know what we're looking for here. We're looking for this particular event. So I'm going to click into it. You'll see that SoLink does a good job of displaying the ticket on the left here. It's going to open the video, and then it's going to actually show me my notes. I can actually add notes to this, and it'll let me save them if I want to change something. And here we have a police discount and non-uniform potential officer. This person certainly looks like he could be a police officer, but he's not in uniform. In our particular location, in our state, that's against policy. With a child, double meal here, again, sort of goes against our policy. It could be a simple training issue with this particular employee, or it could be a scenario where we have, a case of sweethearting or something like that, using a discount that, not many people are going to bat an eye at. We've had issues with this, so we're looking for it specifically. I can now flip this to HD if I want to see something specifically on the till, or see something that he has in his hand, maybe a badge as an example. I can zoom in, I can speed this up, I can bounce very easily amongst the timeline here. But I can also, like we showed before, save and share. So I can take this, I can open it up, get myself a wide view, see what's happening on the other end of the counter, add a couple of 360 cameras, which I'll show you on my mobile device here when we look at SoLink Mobile. Hit OK. It's going to give me the best quality possible. It's going to allow me to change the timeline potentially, add a title, give it a note. These are the things that then become searchable, along with entering it just here without having to save or share. And then I can share this. So I can send this to anybody. I can send this to my manager at store and send them an email asking them to look into this. The manager can also send me stuff, and I can send stuff to, let's say, corporate. I can send stuff to my legal around workers' comp issues or slip, trip, and falls. I can give access to those people. Basically, I'm controlling who I give access to the site to. And I can even say my manager in one location has access to that. My manager in my second location has access to it, but they don't have access to each other. And all their reporting and all that stuff is done for them specifically. There's almost too much to show there, but the reporting is quite robust. But I really like the save feature because it lets me quickly and easily address an issue, send it off, get somebody to review it, and we're taking action right away. Again, almost always as we're walking into the location, we're starting our day on a good foot of correcting yesterday's issues and getting better every day, so that we ensure we can go that second mile. So I'm not going to hit save here. I'm going to show you what it looks like after I've done this because, for time purposes on this demo, I wanted to make sure we did it. So I'm just going to look at my larger screens here and show you this is the email. It has, the please review that I've written in here. I have the amount, the full receipt. And I can, as an outside user, I don't need to log into SoLink at all. I get this kind of like YouTube-like player. Super easy to use. Again, works very similar to YouTube. You've got a timeline of a bar. You can watch the video. You can look at the different camera angles. And you can, of course, download. And SoLink does some really interesting things where I don't have to worry when I send this to the police if there's an issue, or we have a robbery, or we have, again, slip, trip, and fall. I can send this to anybody. And with the download comes like a native player so that they can actually play this no matter where they're from. Or what kind of systems they have. Really convenient, and all this stuff is here along with it. So really love this share feature. We've never seen anything like it. It solves so many challenges for us, just sharing both good scenarios to improve on. So we can say, please do what Susan does, and also please don't do what Johnny does, kind of thing, and start to have both good behavior recognized and what we don't want recognized and corrected. Now, SoLink's got a lot of features here. I'm just going to show you two more things. One, I'm going to show you that they have these sort of charts. And these charts in this Discover tab allow me to look at particular employees or locations or operations by any number of things. So I can look at the average number of discount by certain people. So let's say I want to see total amount by employees, who my top performers are, average number of items entered. Discounts, I may want to look at some of these large discounts and see where I have an employee that's giving out quite a lot of discount on this particular day, not generating a lot of revenue, but has a seemingly large number of items. And so I can quickly, and I can look at this over a month, over a year, again, a specific day if I want. In this case, I've chosen a week. I can then filter this even to start to look at different things, look at a specific employee, do all this stuff. It's a quick view of my business in one snapshot that lets me see within seconds a potential issue and then drill into that issue. That's the way to think of it. SoLink's going to show me all the smoke, and then I can drill in to see if there's actually a fire. And when there is a fire, I can take action against it very quickly. And so I can look at these very similar to what we looked at before, or I can dig in and look at it almost in a spreadsheet view where I can actually see where there's a large number of items entered and potentially the wrong amounts, right? So these amounts don't look good. This is probably dragging your average down. What happened in this particular case? And employee discounts are good, but again, we have some voided items in here. We're sort of seeing an odd subtotal. It turns into a 15-cent tip in our books. This is obviously a problem and we want to correct it. And so again, I can take these actions, start to add notes, copy the link, share it, do all those things that we were talking about. Now, the last couple things I'm going to show, I'm just going to show some settings here. So you can see that all my users are managed in here. I can add or remove users or change their permissions. My reports are done here, really slick and easy. Everything in SolLink is easy to use, and that's the way to think about it. I can change what time. Again, I said 7 a.m. I could change this to 10 a.m. I can do different schedules. Maybe I want to receive a weekly email on Saturdays. I can also choose whether I'm getting, certain types of reports daily or weekly. Really powerful. Last thing I'm going to show for this quick demo here is using non-transaction information with SolLink. So I'm going to pull up my office and look for a scenario where we've had something misplaced. This can be anything from, again, our employees are not allowed to have cell phones out on the floor. So we want to pull up a video and see, if we have a missing cell phone, we could be having a missing binder, anything like that. In this particular case, I am looking for a missing binder. So SolLink has this cool feature where I can almost draw on the screen. I know there's supposed to be a green binder here with some policy information in it, and it's gone missing. And so now I can scroll through and see these blue bars at the bottom, and they're going to show me these levels of motion. So I'm going to go to where, sort of save us some time, and I know where this area is for the video purpose. But I'm looking for, where the green binder came from and where it went, and I can sort of see at this point either where it left or where it was found in this case. And there it is there. She wasn't supposed to remove that from the office. She did, so we'll have a conversation about that. Again, I could go into my save and share and see that. But instead of wondering where something is, on the fly, in pretty real time. This could have happened minutes ago, and I could be looking at it through my web interface or through, sort of the real end of the video here is looking at SolLink on mobile. So I'll just hide my emails here and show you through a few things where I can see the same kind of stuff and ultimately get particular transactions. I can do searching in here, let's say looking for voids, and start to get this on my mobile device. And so it'll come up. I can also look at all my cameras, of course, on video, pull up, let's say, one of these 360 cams. One of the coolest things that SolLink does, it's quite remarkable actually, is takes these 360 or fisheye cameras and almost turns them into virtual reality. So I'm going to physically move my phone around. It might be a little shaky in the video. I'm going to try to keep it stable. The idea is that I'm physically looking around, almost like sticking my head out through the ceiling when I'm not there and looking around, making sure that everything's clean and everything does look very good today, seeing if there's a weather issue or anything like that, looking for policy issues. Again, I'm looking at this here. I can do the same thing live, which is really, really powerful, even zoom in if I want, and flip between cameras. So hopefully you got a little bit of a taste of what SolLink can do, and hopefully this video has been helpful for you to see some of the power that it has in a short period of time.